It's that time of year when ghosts, goblins, and GOP recruiters scour the streets looking for candy or souls. It seems the social rejects from my generation are celebrating Halloween more and more each year. Oh, I guess we're tired of seeing Santa's big fat fucking ass sticking into the fall season. Most people like to celebrate with awkward parties, harmless pranks, like slitting the neck of a 10-year-old, and wax candy. If you like wax candy, you're nuttier than a men's restroom. I, on the other hand, have much perversion. Well, not officially registered perversion. I like to replay one of my favorite FMV games. Scary sounding, doesn't it? No, it's not Sewer Shark or Night Dick. I like to play a little game called Braindead 13. In 1995, they gave us Braindead 13. Like Dragon's Lair, it's fully animated, limited in gameplay, and guaranteed to only have a cult following. And when I say limited gameplay, I'm not exactly being critical, just honest. To progress in games like this, you are intended to press the proper button at the right moment in order to progress, or you die. Much like one long-ass QuickTime event. It's generally pretty simplified, consisting of moving in 4 directions and only one button solely dedicated to performing actions. The game starts out with the view of a gloomy, intimidating castle, or an architect's nightmare. The primary tenant of the castle is a disembodied brain referred to as Dr. Nero Neurosis, and it's probably the best name considering he's just a floating pile of grey matter. We see his assistant Fritz bumbling around as they plan to conquer the world. However, only one thing stands in their way. Their fucking computer is broken. I guess that's what you get for trying to run Mandriva Linux. Like a Pop-Tart. They consult the yellow pages and acquire the assistance of the world's most 90s computer guru, Lance. Lance comes in, undoubtedly cocky, like the rest of us IT dorkbutts, and gets their infrastructure back up and running with a huge chunk of nose butter. It makes me wonder if mucus can actually transmit an electrical current. I'm half tempted to try it. Back online, the Mad Doctor announces his plans for world domination. Like a fucking idiot. Lance mocks him, Brain gets pissed. Fritz tries to kill. Lance gets smart. Fritz gets dumb. Lance falls down, and Fritz begins his pursuit. So that is the premise in a nutshell. After traveling down the chimney, Lance makes his way to one of the various corridors in the castle. You only have a few seconds to make a choice of which way to go, or you'll get dead. It's somewhat hard to believe that this received a kids to adult rating back in 1995, the equivalent to today's E for everyone rating. Braindead 13 pulls all the stops when it comes to killing its lead character. Even today, some of the death scenes are rather cringeworthy. It's one of the most infamous aspects of the game itself. So, let's go ahead and get this out of the way, like getting the dead elephant out of the room. Let's cue the violent montage of cartoon brutality. Now that we've quenched our bloodlust, One of the major differences in Braindead 13, as opposed to other FMV games, especially Dragon's Lair, is that it's fairly non-linear. While you still need to complete the main, if not vague, objectives in order to beat the game, you can proceed in any order you want. Half the game is composed of hallways and minor action sequences. The other half consists of major action sequences. Most creatures you encounter are obviously influenced off horror icons such as vampires, Frankenstein monsters, witches, big-ass creatures, and Scientologists. First character you're likely to encounter that isn't Fritz, who's always hot on your ass, or hot for your ass, is Moose, the jock-like Frankenstein fuck-up. I can just imagine the good Dr. Frankenstein sitting there working on his latest creation while watching a Panthers game. No wonder he went insane. Anyway, like most Frankenstein monsters, Moose is a complete dim-witted retard.
Third down, bases are loaded, and we're pulling the goalie.
For whatever reason, he's ready to kill Lance in an instant. Most have something to do with the hating of red-headed computer geeks. After you guide Lance to end up on top of Moose's head, you rally around some rather large electrical poles and onto a platform that brings you to the peak of a tower. Moose, again suffering from mutant retard dumbass syndrome, grips a lightning rod during a storm. Needless to say, it does wonders for his figure. Lance leaps off the tower and cracks his jimmies open. What's weird is how drawn out the moan is. In other versions of the game, this particular painful sequence is cut by about 3 seconds. I'm guessing that testicular abuse tested quite well for the 3DO's core audience at the time. And next on our list is taking out one of the two witches. In a traditionally animated, cel-painted game, they managed to do a palette swap. Indeed, a palette swap. Marvelous. There are 2 scenes that are exactly the same. You have to defeat 2 witches now, in the different colors. Ingenious. We have a blue witch and an orange witch. Minus a few minor moves, it's exactly the same. Since it's flipped, one scene may require you to press left, while the other scene might require you to press right. It's the exact polar opposite. Considering what the budget must have been for the animation, I can't kick it too much, but it's shamefully obvious that it's filler. Anyways, the witch's intent is to cook you. Fair enough. On your quest for evasion, you come across a set of eyeballs hanging in the kitchen. You need to be sure and grab these in both palette swaps, witch scenes, in order to beat the game. You'll see why soon enough. After some aerial grinding, you hurl yourself back into the castle and onto your next objective. And our next objective, of course, must involve massive tattoons.
Hey, sugar. Glad you could drop in. I'm Vivi, and welcome to Vivi's Funeral Salon.
This may be the most awesome vampire for all the wrong reasons. Shit.
I know exactly what you mean. Well, at any rate, I'm already a little behind.
Oh, damn. While I can't say for certain why Vivi would want to kill you, she's a vampire, so fuck logic. This is what would happen if the old Hammer Studio did a remake of the Barbershop film series. Considering how goddamn lethal her beauty salon is, the bitch should probably have a goddamn cosmetology license revoked. After you manage to survive getting a facial and manicure, can't believe that came out of my mouth, you'll have to face off with Vivi's mortified beautifier.
Comes with an afterlife guarantee.
Dodging Vivi's bodacious tartars and evading the world's largest earmuffs ends up giving her one hell of a makeover. Like a true Kardashian. Back at the entrance, our next goal is to head over to the hedge maze. Yes, a game that introduces a bit of a learning curve has a goddamn hedge maze in it. Looking over the balcony, you see a big stoned fish man. If it's over 7 feet tall, we must kill it. Luckily, the maze isn't as maze-like as one would gather on first impression. Typical trial and error aside, getting lost isn't really a cause for concern. Most wrong turns simply end in your death. Oh, since I failed to mention, this Lance does happen to have infinite lives. Thank fucking God, too. Because if it's your first time playing, you're going to need all of them. Once you've managed to make your way through the maze and to the central fountain, you find that it is inhabited by the finest corrosive acid, courtesy of the People's Republic of China. As if stone tablets floating around on a pool of acid wasn't enough,
These fish spit acid. These be some beach fishes. Oh, and the big daddy fish is awake now.
And this bitch be spitting acid too!
I too many pizza.
Avoiding his mighty sharp trident, you make your way to the top of his fish head, pull a wire that cuts power to it, or something, and he slings you back into the castle. Not really sure what the point was.
Can't really go around saying, "Howdy boys, I disarmed the fishman! Fuck you, crackles!"
Back inside the castle, we only have to tackle one more obstacle before the climax.
I wish for myself I had a nickel every time I said that.
But since it's actually the second and only remaining witch, I'll go ahead and sum it up for you. Now to proceed to the last two scenes, you have to go back to either witch entrance.
And a magical elevator full of rainbows, sunshine, and My Little Pony merchandise await you.
At last, you get to fight Fritz head on, after Lance pulls the old, flying rug gag. The fuck? How in the shit?
Way to fuck an old gag in the ass!
Following Fritz's legendary descent, Lance makes his way back up the never-ending staircase, picking up a stray of weapons Fritz has left on his way down. An epic battle ensues, man against monster, fuck against fucker, dick against penis.
I have no idea where I'm going with this.
Cracking Fritz's head open with a mallet seems to do the trick, and you finally make your way to the dreaded brain chamber. Wow. Total darkness. I guess someone forgot to layer in the fucking backgrounds. But in the rear, you see the evil Dr. Nero Neurosis, who isn't as big as expected.
It's just me and you!
Guess Fritz decided to come back for more.
Truly a plot twist of Schlight, Schlama, Mixschlang, Fanny, Kelp, Fuck, Poopy, Boop.
Shit, Fritz turned into fucking Rambo. While not as climactic as one would have hoped, you spend your last moments of the game dodging enough ammunition to make a Palin family member reunion weep with pride. During his acrobats, Lance's balls fall out.
I really need to start rephrasing this shit better.
Well, not his testiculars per se, in which I so hastily referred to. They are the eyeballs collected earlier during the witch confrontations. Tying them together, Lance hurls them at Fritz's feet, causing him to go airborne and straight into the doctor's fish tank. Both foes are undoubtedly fucked.
Hey guys! Game's over.
Shit begins exploding and crumbling, the very walls caving in. All is black, and there's not a clear indication on what move I should make.
Yes, the final move of the game can literally be any one button press.
Lance somehow makes his way out of the castle. Guess they forgot to animate that too. Spits out a generic catchphrase and drives along his merry way, acting like it was a typical house call in the day of Lance Galahad.
Pretty straightforward, I would assume. But I have a little extra something for you because I love you all so much. Braindead 13 from Japan.
Let's boot up the net, Yorosi, and give our foreign PlayStation port a look.
Honestly, I can't imagine the demand for a game like this in Japan. But if I understood marketing, I wouldn't be doing this bullshit in my free time.
It's essentially the same game with some very selective dubbing. Most dialogue is dubbed in Japanese, but various noises made by the characters are left alone. Which pretty much leaves Fritz, a character who sounds like he's experiencing a never-ending mentally challenged orgasm, unaltered. While my Japanese is downright non-existent, hearing a disembodied brain talk like this is pretty amusing.
すでに世界中のコンピューターと結びついておる。やがて全ては私の思いのままに。そして世界征服かい？フリッツ、奴を殺せ。
Language aside, the biggest difference is that there are prompts on the screen telling you what move to make. To my knowledge, this isn't actually any other version of the game, even the Japanese port for the Saturn. How do you think this would make the game easier? They managed to fuck up the timing. It seems like the brief window you already had to press a button is now cut in half. So as soon as you see that prompt, you better press that fucking button. Overall, not much to say. It's Braindead 13 in Japanese. If you're looking for some cheap console imports, this one won't set you back too much. And that's Braindead 13 in a nutshell. Not a groundbreaking game. It has some nice animation, and, you know, it's interesting. It's not exactly groundbreaking on a gameplay level, but it's very nostalgic to me personally, and has a very small cult following. But what the fuck doesn't these days? So I wanted to share that with you today. To share a little bit of my history. As for my future, I'm about to drop some acid and kill some trick-or-treaters. Happy Halloween! I'll see you on the FBI's Most Wanted list. A good evening.